evening, I'm Pinky Webb. Tonight we ask the questions, we tackle the issues, we clarify matters, and we get on point. As the country deals with multiple weather disturbances, lawmakers are also facing a storm of controversies. From the supposed delayed impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte, power struggle in the Senate, and most recently alleged billions of pesos worth of insertions made by Senate President Chiz Escudero in the 2025 budget. All these while the 20th Congress has yet to officially convene. Let's get on point with Senator Risa Hontiveros. Senator Risa, good to finally see you.
Nice seeing
and
you again.
And speak to you again.
Yes,
it's been so long.
Oo nga, long time no see.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
All right, I'm gonna start dito po muna sa storm, yung totoo pong bagyo and habagat that has caused a lot of flooding in many parts of the country. Is there a way to actually really find out, I mean, maybe from the Senate, if we have an effective flood management control program or even a unified flood management control program?
There should be a way to find that kahit sa loob ng government infrastructure program in general or sa mga local development plans ng mga LGUs, at least at the provincial, if not regional level sa mga flood-prone areas ng ating bansa. Kasi hindi naman nakakagulat na binabagyo tayo taon-taon. We know, we anticipate it. And pag nakikita, nararanasan natin yung mga pagbaha tulad ngayon, syempre hindi natin masisisi yung mga kababayan natin, itanong yan, nasan na yung mga flood control na taon-taon pinupondohan naman namin sa Kongreso.
I was actually trying to get the numbers from last year and this year. This is just a rough estimate. Okay. It might not be exact. 216 billion pesos in 2024 for flood control projects coming from the DPWH plus 1.3 billion from the MMDA. So roughly, I'd say 217 billion pesos in 2024. And this year, about 255 billion pesos. Ibig ko sabihin, Senator, meron hubang way para mabusisi itong pera na bilyon-bilyon kung talagang napupunta, hindi lang kung talagang napupunta sa flood control projects, kung tama yung ginagawang flood control projects.
Well, there should be a way to do that every year. Actually, any time of every year, hindi lang sa budget debates, pwede naming tignan yung audit reports ng Commission on Audit. Tapos lalo na tuwing budget debates, pinaka-timely, gamitin namin yung COA reports para sabihin, okay, ito yung inappropriate para sa ganitong flood control project sa ganitong lugar. Tama ba itong ginastos? And then, of course, we have to ask, yung epekto ba nararamdaman? Actually, the figures that you stated might even be understated. Naalala ko, budget debates last year. I just can't recall the exact figures now, pero lumabas sa plenary interpellations namin that historically, mga 1/3 daw. I'll get back to you on this if I'm wrong, but I seem to remember 1/3 historically ng mga DPWH projects have been spent on flood control. Kaya natanong namin noon ni na dating Minority Leader, Sen Coco, kung 1/3 yan, bakit hindi by 1/3 din? Just, using a rough estimate, bakit hindi by 1/3 din humuhupa yung mga baha natin taon-taon? Tingnan mo yung baha ngayon. So I'm sure citizens very fairly will be asking us at the latest by the budget debates later this year, talaga bang tama yung pagbabudget at paggastos ng pera para sa flood control?
Sen. Risa, what about a Senate investigation on this?
Oh, yeah, that could also be another path sooner than the budget debates na mangyayari in a few months' time pa. So yes, that's also another path.
Would you be very interested to look into this?
Yeah, if anyone would file it, or if I myself won't file it, I will participate very actively.
Kasi pag pinag-uusapan po yung budget deliberations, mabusisi po kayo dyan eh. You know, both houses of Congress,
Yes.
You talk to different heads of agencies. Kaso pagdating po ng BICAM, sabi nga nila, medyo nagkakaproblema daw o nagkakaroon ng insertions allegedly during the BICAM. Is there really a possibility that once and for all, magiging mapapanood po natin, mababantayan po itong BICAM?
Kaya mas nagkakaroon ng currency yung mga panawagan to open the BICAM. Hindi lang yung chairs ng dalawang panels, Senate at House, hindi lang yung full panels ng dalawang houses ng Kongreso, but any and all interested Filipinos, yung mga budget reform advocates, kayo sa media, or kahit sino pa sa mga kababayan natin. I don't see in principle why there would be any difficulty about that. I've raised that call, sinabi na rin niya ni Sen Ping, narinig na rin natin kay Speaker. So,
Maybe this year?
Maybe this year, we should really give it a go. Kung marami talagang gustong manood, makinig, mag-observe, then a simple technical solution like live streaming it might be easiest at hand.
I mean, nakakasama ho ba ng loob after all the, yung pagod na pinagdadaanan po ng mga talagang nakatutok sa budget, lawmakers and the heads of agencies and of course their team go through this, one by one, detalyado po sila. Tapos supposedly, allegedly, pagdating ng BICAM, ay may mga milagrong nangyayari.
Well, more than nakakasama ng loob, nakaka-alarm kung meron ngang ganong mga nangyayari. I haven't myself read the detailed reports of what's coming out now about the previous budget that we're spending now at saka insertions. But kung totoo man, or just the fact na itinatanong, all the more reason we should make the process more transparent and therefore the result at kaming mga budget makers, kaming mga legislators mas accountable. Kasi hindi dapat nangyayari yan. At hindi dapat nagkakaroon ng duda na nangyayari yun. Kasi pera yan, hindi lang nga ng gobyerno, pera ng mamamayan, literally, galing sa buwis ng mamamayan.
As you were saying a while ago, I was going to bring this in, there was a report from Politico.com. Ang report po doon is that allegedly 142 billion pesos was allegedly inserted by Senate President Chiz Escudero in the 6.3 trillion budget in 2025. And part of that, the biggest allocation actually went to Bulacan at a budget of 12 billion. Ito po importante kasi dun po sa 12 billion na yan, 3 billion for flood control projects. That's why I'm bringing this in. Meron pong 3.2 billion for roads, 3.6 billion for buildings, and ang taas po nito, 2.2 billion for street lights. The second actually goes to Sorsogon at 9.1 billion, and the list goes on and on. Davao is at 5th place. So when you hear, or siguro once you see this report and maybe look into this, how can we know, how can we find out if the money is actually being used wisely and properly?
So kailangan, at least in this next budget debates or even earlier through a resolution and investigation, kailangan namin makuha yung mga inputs from DPWH down to ground level at yung mga LGUs, ano ba yung kanilang annual na flood situations at ano yung mga preemptive at curative measures na kailangan nila infra-wise para mapahupa na talaga yung mga bahang iyon o magamit yung flood water in a constructive way. So, that's one very concrete way na we can prevent situations like this coming up again na mga tanong ang nire-raise tungkol sa mga seryosong issue which should not bother our people on top of lahat ng mga problema na meron na. Dapat ma-take for granted nila na in terms of flood control among the many other concerns of citizens in our country na alam ng executives hanggang sa ground level yung sitwasyon at nai-input namin nila sa aming mga legislators at kami naman mape-presume ng ating mga kababayan ay responsive in terms of the budget making.
Are you surprised about this particular article?
Not surprised is the feeling. I heard about it, I would see it posted online. Siyempre concerned ako at kaya yung immediate response ko was again to call for open BICAM para mapigilan na may mga tanong o may aktual na pangyayaring tulad nito kasi hindi nga dapat magkaroon ng duda sa isip ng ating mga kababayan, lalo na taon-taon, nagdudusa sa mga bahang ito talaga.
Let's talk about the 20th Congress. That begins on July 28. The President's SONA is on July 28. And then, tama ho ba, ang first official session day niyo will be July 29?
No, we have the opening of session
That's
morning of
July
the 28th,
28, okay.
followed by the President's SONA in the afternoon.
And on July 28, dun po pipili ng SP, ng
On
Senate
July
President.
28, doon pupili ng SP. And since you mentioned the 29th, yun yung susunod na convening ng Senate Impeachment Trial Court. In-announce na yun dati nung presiding officer.
Pero may bago na pong announcement. Hindi na po July 29. August 4 na daw po.
Ay, teka muna, na-announce na yung July 29. At yung buo namang trial calendar, pati kung kailan talaga kami magko-convene ulit, kailangan pag-usapan niya ng buong senator judges, yung buong court. Hindi pwedeng isa or iilan lang ang magsasabi nun.
The reason for the postponement from what was expected to be July 29, ang pag-convene po ng impeachment court, to August 4 was because the Senate President is saying that the impeachment court has to give notices to the parties. Kaya mukhang August 4 daw po.
Parang ang tagal naman, from the 29th to the 4th, halos isang
1
linggo. And gaya ng lagi kong sinasabi, mula nung 19th Congress na nag-convene ang Senate Impeachment Trial Court at nagkaroon kami ng jurisdiction sa process na ito, continuing process yan. In fact, as we speak now, Pinky, convened ang korte, ongoing ang trial. At any time, pwede nang i-issue ng presiding officer yung mga summonses o mga invitations na iyon. The same way, pwede na niyang pasumpain yung mga bagong senador bilang senator
But
judges
he has
din.
not, Senator.
That's right. But also he has said, 29th ang convening, the rest of us senator judges took that. And ngayon, para sabihin ng ilan na August 4 na, wala pang usapan yan ng lahat ng senator judges.
Pasensya na ho kayo, siguro hindi kayo sinama doon talaga sa usapan na August 4.
Kung hindi man, hindi naman pwedeng ganon. Kasi tulad sa mga korte, sa judicial branch, ang impeachment trial court din naman, kami, Senate bilang impeachment trial court, dapat yung mga usapin ng trial calendar, pinagkakasunduan ng lahat.
Hindi lang ng
Senate
majority.
judges. Oo, hindi lang.
What happens on July 28 if you find out that the impeachment court will continue or will begin or dapat continue kasi
Yes.
meron na pong jurisdiction during the 19th Congress, again, which is
Yes.
being questioned, that it will be on August 4. What do you plan to do about that?
Hindi yan pwedeng desisyonan ng Senate sitting as a legislature. Kailangan ng impeachment trial court.
So, senator
bilang
judges.
court, senator judges. So, baka ang pwede nilang gawin ay i-convene kaming mga senador, pero bilang senator judges para pag-usapan yung trial calendar.
Right.
Kasama yung susunod na pag-upo namin. Which on the 28th would be easy to say that tomorrow, the 29th.
I guess what I'm asking is, if it doesn't happen, what do you intend to do?
Tuloy-tuloy lang na pag-alala, pagsulong, pagtulak na tungkulin namin sa konstitusyon. Nung una nga, shall proceed to trial forthwith. Ngayon, continuing process ito. Tumawid man mula sa 19th hanggang sa 20th Congress. So any day now, we can and should be proceeding with trial. Ang dami nang naganap actually. So we convened as a court. We approved our rules, nag-issue kami ng summons, di ba, sa impeached official. Nag-submit na siya, si VP Duterte, ng formal answer, ad cautelam. Sinagot ng prosecution yung answer na yun with their reply.
Right.
So, it's a continuing process.
All right, we're going to take a very short break. We'll be right back. This is On Point. Welcome back to On Point, still with us, Senator Risa Hontiveros. So, papaano po, impeachment, yun pa rin po pag-usapan natin.
Okay.
Pagdating po ng 20th Congress, let's say, it might not be a surprise, it could happen that a senator might say, again, question the jurisdiction of the 20th Congress or ask for the impeachment court to dismiss the charges against the Vice President, which was done already in the 19th Congress, di ho ba? Ano po ang magiging laban, or how are you going to respond to a situation like this? I'm sure you're not going to be surprised if it happens in the 20th Congress.
Actually, hindi na nga yan if but when. Kasi inanunsyo na nung isang kolego na gagawin niya talaga yon. They actually didn't get to try it yet in the 19th Congress. Siguro na naramdaman nila na it wouldn't fly. Kaya inamend nila to return or remand or whatever it was. But it had that similar effect. So ngayon, kung i-raise na talaga niya, pag-convene kami as an impeachment trial court, pagdidebatihan ko yan. And I'm counting on several other colleagues to do the same. Kasi paanong sasabihin na pagbotohan na natin ito? Wala pang ang narinig ni isang kapirasong ebidensya. Wala pang kahit isang warm body ng witness na humarap sa amin at in-address kami bilang senator judges. So on what basis?
Plenary rules. SP Chiz was saying, plenary rules. If somebody goes and asks for somebody motions, sabi niya, you vote, simple majority, let's say 13, votes in favor of that particular motion. He said during an interview, even here, that plenary rules.
But then, the presiding officer would have to contend with hindi lang yung technical aspect ng rules, pero yung substantive. Kasi substantively, sabi ng konstitusyon na kailangan dinigin namin yung evidence at yung witnesses before we make a decision. Yung dismissal na yan, tantamount yun sa acquittal. Walang due process dyan for the prosecution. On the other hand, parang walang due process din sa impeached official kasi hindi nakapag-present nung side nila yung defense. So, super premature kung pagbotohan na ang isang dismissal na wala pang narinig ni isang basehan, whether ng dismissal, acquittal, or ng conviction. At paano din nila questionin yung jurisdiction ng Senado nitong impeachment trial when lahat ng mga cases na sinasite nila to prove this point refer to the Senate in its legislative function. Ilang beses nang sinabi ng Korte Suprema. Sinabi pa sa records, Pinky, ng Constitutional Commission. Non-legislative function ang impeachment. Hindi siya affected ng pagbabago kahit pag-adjourn ng legislative calendar. So, there is no jurisdiction that has been lost.
Parang continuing body siya.
Continuing process. May very definitive statement pa nga sa records ng Consti Commission na an impeachment trial cannot be adjourned. Cannot be adjourned. So, tulad ng mga korte sa judiciary, kami, pag convened as an impeachment trial court, we will and we have to continue. Tungkulin namin yun.
All right. So let's see what will happen on July 28 or 29. As we mentioned a while ago, July 28, unang-una, pipili kayo ng Senate President.
Yes.
Is it going to be, sa bilang nyo po, Sen. Risa, is it sigurado na po si SP Chiz?
By all accounts, lalo na sa inyo sa media, mukhang siya nga ang mahahalal ulit bilang SP.
Ang bilang nyo din ho ba, 18 versus 6?
Something like that. Medyo nag-shift sometimes from week to week or day to day, pero as of today, parang ganun yung mga numero.
Okay, so yung inyong mga kakampi, sabi nila nung 19th Congress, it was just you and Senate Minority Leader Coco Pimentel, hindi ba? Pagdating ng 20th Congress, nanalo si Sen. Bam at si Senator Kiko, pero now, even on social media, meron mga nagtataka, why? Bakit sila parang napapabilang sa majority indeed if they vote for SP Chiz for the Senate presidency? Kayo ho ba, do you feel like naiwang kayo, napabayaan nilang dalawa, ikaw, at pagkatapos po nung eleksyon at sila'y nanalo?
Not at all.
Why not?
I don't feel napabayaan or naiwan. Kasi kanilang mga desisyon yan eh. Tulad nung ako, may desisyon din ako. So, nagre-respetuhan kami. Hindi lang kaming pinakamalapit, pero kaming lahat ng mga senador. We are each accountable and responsible for our own decisions. At malalaman natin yan finally, sa umaga ng 28th, kung kailan opening of session. So, i-organize na namin yung Senado. So, by that time, you could ask them why they decided one way or the other.
Doon sa mga lumalabas naman is that meron silang kailangan na long-term plans para matuloy yung kanilang mga pinangako during nung kampanya. Pero sa mata ng tao na kakampi ninyo, at kakampi po siguro nilang dalawa, marami yung natuwa na nanalo po silang dalawa dahil magiging at least 3 kayo instead of 2 during the 19th Congress. There's some surprise and concern that it seems like they might be joining the majority, and you're not at all bothered by that?
If I'm bothered by the surprise and the concern of people, syempre I care about how people feel about that or how people feel about us. Kasi kasama namin sila nung kampanya. Ibig sabihin kasama yung pangarap kung ano yung mga next steps, ano yung long-term direction. Pero para sa akin, if things don't always turn out the way I hope, gagawa na lang ako ng iba pang paraan, at least in the short term, in order to stay still navigating towards that longer-term direction. So, patuloy akong magtatrabaho, patuloy na maninindigan sa loob ng Senado, beginning also with my decision on where I'll stand in terms of the organization of the Senate. And binibigay ko na rin sa kanilang dalawa yung ganung ding desisyon.
So, speaking of the organization in the 20th Congress, parang magulo. Paano ho ba? May majority, may minority, may independent, may veterans bloc. How do you see it forming? At nasan po kayo?
Well, I hear that veterans bloc name being used by sina Sen Tito when mula nung 3 weeks ago sinabi nila na kung hindi sila yung mahalal na SP, he's open to being minority leader. Yung independent bloc, ideya ko yon nung una. Dahil sabi ko, hindi ako sasali sa majority, at hindi ako sasama sa minority noon kasi akala ko may ibang block na kukuha ng minority. Kaya ang naging
sabihin na natin,
proposal ko,
supposed to be the minority could have been the Duterte.
Originally.
Duterte 7.
Okay. So, kaya naisip ko noon, mag-independent block tayo. Okay.
So, kayo na po nagsabi tayo. Ibig sabihin ikaw, si Senator
kami
Kiko,
tatlo
at
noon,
Senator Bam.
right. Okay. So, ngayon, kung magiging iba yung final decision nila sa umaga ng 28th, kaya ko naisip, okay, tatayo na lang ako bilang independent senator. Ngayon na yung minority ay posibleng pamunuan ni na Sen Tito at may ilang mga feelers or announcement. So, nagbubukas din yung isip ko. So, at least dalawa na yung options ko. Dati, independent bloc or independent senator. So ngayon, pwede ko ring pag-isipan yung minority.
At let's make that clear. Kung mag-independent po kayo, talagang independent senator.
Yes,
dahil talagang ikaw lang po yun.
Yun yung second option ko after baka hindi mag-fly yung independent bloc. Kasi at that time, akala ko yung isang bloke pa yung makakakuha ng minority.
But what is the likelihood that you'll join the veteran bloc? Kasi parang iniimbita ho ba kayo or wina-welcome kayo ni Tito Sen?
May ilang feelers or announcement, and bagay, veterano naman ako, second term ka na to. And I have to say naman na nirerespeto ko si Sen Tito, no? Yung pinakita niya bilang Senate President noon, and bagamat magkaiba kami sa ilang mga, for example, social issues, pero nirerespeto ko siya. So, now
Very
I have
open.
2 options, not just one.
Yeah. All right. Also, I wanted to discuss this way back kasi yung pong pag-file nyo ng cyber libel charges against 7 individuals in relation dito kay Michael Maurilio, alleging na nagbayad daw po kayo ng 1 milyong pesos sa kanya para po magsabi ng hindi ng katotohanan laban kay Pastor Apollo Kibuloy, kay dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte and Vice President Sara Duterte. This is the time that first you went to the NBI to ask for help. And then you went to the DOJ subsequently and filed a complaint against the 7. Pero sa NBI, parang 10 po sila.
Or mga 12.
Or maybe 12.
Yes.
Bakit po from 12 it decreased or reduced to 7?
Inuna ko muna yung 6. Kasi advice ng legal team ko, after filing that complaint and request for investigation by NBI against Michael Maurilio at mga 12 vloggers na nagdagdag pa ng mga lies tungkol sa sinasabi ni Michael Maurilio, ang advice ng legal team ko, they already had enough evidence para kasuhan na ng cyber libel, yung unang 6 na vloggers, plus si Michael Maurilio. Kung ano yung bunga ng investigasyon ng NBI, baka madagdagan pa yung kakasuhan ko. at baka madagdagan yung ikakaso ko sa kanila.
So wala pa pong output or wala pa pong binibigay na complete investigation ng NBI doon po sa inyong hiniling?
That's right. Wala pang final
Wala
and
pa pong
complete
final.
investigation. Pero umaasa ako na iniimbestiga na nga nila ito.
When you went to the NBI, I think maybe a day or 2 days later, I had Attorney Ferdy Topacio here on the show, and I asked him about that, and he had a reply to what dun po sa paghingi mo ng tulong sa NBI. Let's watch this.
I personally know of 2 incidents wherein the same manner of accusation was made against Senator Hontiveros. This was during the time of the controversy surrounding Kian de los Santos, who was killed by the police in a supposed rob-out. And while I believe that the policemen involved there were rightfully punished for their crime, it does not detract from the fact that with respect to certain witnesses who were of minor age at the time, Senator Hontiveros intervened by getting them from the custody of their lawful parents and bringing them somewhere else. The second would be with respect to the Farmally case, where a certain Mark Clarence said on video, on record, that he was bribed by Senator Hontiveros with electric bikes and certain amounts of money to testify falsely against executives of Farmally.
Yun po yung kanyang naging sagot doon sa tanong ko. Pag-file nyo, paghingi nyo ng tulong sa NBI. What do you say to that, Senator?
Yung panig ni attorney ay kinasuhan na rin ako dati, kaugnay nung pangalawang binanggit niyang kaso, yung sa Farmally, sa ombudsman, if I remember correctly. Dismiss na po iyon. Kaya, well, parang halos wa-epek pag pinagsasabihan ko si attorney na mag-iingat sa kanilang pinagsasabi dahil madagdagan pa yung kanyang mga sagutin. Kung gusto nilang buksan ulit yung Farmally investigation, okay, we've been waiting for a new matter for a long time dahil hindi pa tapos yung pagsingil ng accountability ng mga corrupt na kumilos dyan sa Farmally scandal na yan.
Sen Risa, hindi ho kayo bago sa mga, actually, veterano po kayo pagdating sa mga investigation in the Senate. Let's say, sa the Pastilla scandal, and many more, no, na kayo po ang nagdadala, let's say kay Pastor Apollo Quiboloy even, nagkakaroon po kayo ng ilang mga testigo. Did you think that at some point, dahil sinasabi mo nga, I heard your interview that you're very careful, humihingi ng computer, hindi mo nga binigyan ng computer itong si Michael Maurilio, supposedly para sa tulong para sa kanya, at sinasabi mo nga yung inyong staff ay talagang vinevet yung mga lumalapit sa inyo. Did you know? Were you expecting that, you know, sometime soon this was going to happen?
No, and I certainly didn't expect it. Even in the case of this person, Michael Maurilio, or in the case of this investigation, dahil kung maaalala ko siya, alias Rene pa ang pagpapakilala namin sa kanya sa publiko, nung hearing, he was so emotional, nanginginig. Umiiyak pa nga when he was telling us how he was abused and hurt by Apollo Quiboloy. Kaya hanggang ngayon nga, Pinky, naniniwala ako na yung sinabi niya sa amin noon sa Senate hearing, yun ang totoo. So, this is the first time this has happened. Pero kaya rin siguro this is the first time I've taken such action. After halos 9 na taon, dinanas ko naman at tiniis yung ganitong klaseng mga fake news, trolling and whatnot. Pero itong ginawa ni Michael Maurilio, itong ginawa nung sino mang grupo na nasa likod niya, itong ginawa ng mga vloggers, they attacked not only me, they attacked the other witnesses. No, yung mga tao na ang tagal na nagbuo ng lakas ng loob kasi takot na takot for their own lives. They told their true stories. Ngayon gustong nakawin ulit yung mga boses nila, nitong mga grupo at taong ito. Pati yung integridad ng Senado, inattack nila. The Senate, which is supposed to fight for those who can't fight for themselves at that point in time. Totally unacceptable. Kaya ngayon, I took these actions already.
Yung pong inyong naging aksyon, nakita po yung, ako personally, I was watching you, nakita ko po talagang galit ninyo, yung palang doon sa NBI and even sa DOJ. Do you have any idea, indeed, if Michael Maurilio, I guess kasi you want to find out who's behind this, especially that yung pong platform
That
na naglabas.
Pagtanggol Valiente is their
Opo.
name. Very, very new. One month old lamang. And set up only the day after Michael Maurilio's last 2 messages to my office na nagsasabing kinidnap siya, bihag siya ngayon, noon sa Glory Mountain ng KOJC at paki-rescue siya. The day after, lumabas na yung Pagtanggol Valiente.
And
yung
you
videos.
said that time that even then, nung humihingi siya ng tulong sa inyo, you forwarded the
Yes.
message to the PNP
Davao.
Davao,
We
hindi
did.
ho ba, para tulungan siya?
Yes, para tulungan siya, aksyonan agad. Kaya lang, habang kinikilusan nila, ayan, lumabas na yung mga videos.
Okay. Do you have a suspicion, a particular person who could have been behind this?
I don't yet. Kaya ako lumapit sa NBI at it's a way of saying, hindi na kaya ng powers namin, investigahan pa ito, ano ba talaga ang buong kwento nitong Michael Maurilio at yung 100 vloggers na ito at yung Pagtanggol Valiente platform na iyan. So that's the really big help I'm hoping for from the NBI.
Senator Risa Hontiveros, we will, of course, wait for the President's State of the Nation address.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I don't have time to ask you what you're expecting. And of course, pagdating po ng 20th Congress. Maraming salamat po sa inyong
Maraming
oras.
salamat.
Good to see you, Senator Risa.
Likewise.
And that's On Point. Join us again tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. here on BNC, the Billionario News Channel. I'm Pinky Webb. Thank you for watching.